there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled people. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen demands I wear a different Halloween costume. After that, am I the jerk for changing my adoptive son's name? And after that, an entitled dad was the scariest part of my Halloween. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get to make anyone else change their Halloween costume. Did anyone dress up for Halloween? And if so, what did you dress up as? So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Karen demands I wear a different Halloween costume. I, 21 female, have been friends with Josh, 21 male, since we were kids. Our moms were friends growing up, and we were pretty much raised together. We've continued to stay best friends through all these years, and we both attend the same college. A year ago, Josh started seeing a girl, Lydia, 21 female, and it eventually developed into a relationship. They've been officially dating for 6 months now. I never met her when they were just talking because he didn't know where the relationship was going. When they did start dating, he introduced us ASAP because I'm his best friend. At first, I thought it was just shyness because I'm a close friend of his, so you obviously want to get along with your partner's friend. But it became very clear very quickly that she just had a problem with our friendship. This past Saturday, there was a Halloween party at our friend's place. Lydia was bringing a friend and told Josh that she and her friend would be doing a matching costume. So Josh asked me if we wanted to do a costume together. We decided to go as Steve and Robin from Stranger Things. I guess on Friday he told her this was happening and suddenly her tune changed and she wanted to do a couple's costume. He saw what she was doing and he told her no. So she then texted me asking if I would change my costume. I said no because I already spent my money and didn't know if I could even return it. Plus, I'd have to scramble for another costume. All of a sudden, I started getting spammed from random numbers, probably her friends, calling me all sorts of names. The whole time Saturday, she was just sulking, and one of her friends seemed to be consoling her the whole night. It just felt awkward. Josh is telling me we didn't do anything wrong, but I feel like he's biased because he's my friend. I want a third party's opinion. Am I the jerk? Edit. I don't plan on telling him about the texts. None of them were malicious or scary, just mean-spirited. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt and hope that this was a random act that was totally out of her typical character. Edit. After reading some of your comments, I plan on telling Josh after class today when we meet up for lunch. Edit. I told Josh. Of course, as many of you predicted, he is unsurprisingly really upset with her. Not the jerk. It would have been one thing if she wanted to do a matching costume with Josh. In that case, sorry, but she as the girlfriend takes rank over you as the friend. But that wasn't the case here. Her sulking and having people spam your phone was ridiculous. No matter what anyone says, there's always a certain degree of awkwardness when you start dating someone who has a close friend of the opposite gender. But if she wants to talk about boundaries, she needs to do it in a far more mature way. OP. No, don't apologize for that. I don't expect to ever take priority over his partners. If she wanted to do a costume and he turned her down, but then asked me to do a costume with him, I'd call him out on it. I hope you let him know that you're getting those texts. Because she had to, at the very least, give your number to her friends, which means at best she's okay with it, and at worst she instigated it, neither of which is okay. I would want to know if my partner was having their friends text my friend insults. The one thing I do want to know is if Steve and Robin are a couple. I don't watch Stranger Things. If they are, I think that wasn't the best choice. If you're gonna do a pair costume with someone in this situation, I would personally go with characters that are not coupley. That's not to say you're in the wrong in this situation, just that this wasn't, in my opinion, the best choice for the situation. Steve and Robin are besties and coworkers, but there is zero romantic feelings there. Love that you guys picked Steve and Robin, a beautifully platonic relationship. Your bestie literally waited for his girlfriend to make her decision about her costume, then he followed her lead. She did a duet set with her bestie, he did one with his. Just because she wants to sulk doesn't make it anyone's fault. She had opportunities, and she just didn't take them. Those are self-consequences. Your friend sounds like a good dude. Not the jerk, but she is for how she acted, and so is he for disregarding his girlfriend's feelings. I hope she can find a guy who respects her feelings and doesn't put his best friend's feelings over hers. If I was her, I'd dump him for putting your feelings over hers. Relationships with dudes who have a female best friend never work out long term. You're always going to be a thorn in the side of any relationship he has until he grows up and cuts you off. No self-respecting woman would stay with a guy who has a female best friend. The only women who allow that are ones who have no self-confidence and figure they can't find a decent man who will put her first. My husband and I have a no friends of the opposite gender rule, and it's worked amazing for us for the last 11 years we've been married. He doesn't have any women texting him trying to hit on him, and I don't have any guys trying to get with me. Something sad about the younger generation is how open you all are to this kind of thing. It's like you rebel against traditionalism so much that what results is a cacophony of insanity where people with common sense are unable to find a decent partner. So glad I'm 35 years old right now and not 15. I don't know how I'd survive in this current climate. Edit. To everyone saying I'm not secure in my relationship, I'm very secure in it, in part because of our rules that we've mutually agreed to. To all you women who think it's perfectly acceptable to let your husbands have all the female friends he wants to and to go out to lunch with them, don't be surprised when you find out he's cheating on you, which he definitely will if he's not already. I guess you've never heard of a thing called temptation? You don't dangle a bottle in front of an alcoholic, you don't offer cigarettes to someone who's trying to quit smoking, and you don't let attractive women build close relationships with your husband. No matter how great of a guy you think he is, he will eventually cheat on you with one of them. It's not even his fault, to be honest. It's how men are biologically programmed. If your husband or boyfriend had the opportunity to hook up with a beautiful woman and you never find out about it, 99% of them would because it's just in their nature. Of course, they'd never admit it because you'd flip out on them. But trust me, no man would turn that opportunity down if they knew they'd get away with it. This is common sense that people used to have, but I guess this is a little too much for your little Reddit brains to comprehend.
Is what she's saying true, Reddit boy? Would you hook up with a beautiful woman behind my back if you knew you could get away with it?
Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her best friend's girlfriend? Please let us know.
If you did matching costumes with another woman, you'd need a new head.
Am I the jerk for changing my adoptive son's name? Names are changed for anonymity, of course. My husband and I took in his cousin Sue's newborn due to her and her partner John's addiction issues. It's not a decision I regret. This beautiful boy is the light of my life, but it was a major life change for us. Especially me, as I was the one who gave up my job and my social life to be basically locked up, isolated during lockdown with a baby. It was supposed to be temporary while they went to rehab. They never went to rehab, nor complied with any of the safety plans set up by the authorities. From 2 months on, they've not seen the baby nor supported him in any way. John's family have not been involved either, as they also refused to abide by the safety plan or any of the authorities' recommendations. Now, 2 years later, my husband and I have full legal custody, and the authorities have closed the file. We've put forth a petition to change the baby's name. At birth, John and Sue named the boy Stephen to honor John's brother who passed of an overdose while partying with John and Sue, who was pregnant. My husband and I have never even referred to the baby by that name. We always called him Davy, his middle name, after Sue and my husband's grandfather. So instead of being Stephen David Jones, we're changing it to David Owen Smith. Owen is after my father, who absolutely adores him and accepted him as grandson from day one. So here's where I might have ventured into jerk mode. My husband thinks I went too far, but I feel they pushed me to the end. John's family found out and blew up my social media and messaging, not husband's, just mine, telling me that I have no right to change the name or honor my father because I'm nothing more than a babysitter and I'm not the real mother. I was called a baby thief, among more vile accusations. So I snapped and responded back that my son's name will honor good men that he could proudly emulate, not like their junky relative who was a crab stain on the world, defrauding the government for benefits and stealing from anyone he could, and contributed nothing to life or society, and his only accomplishment is that he OD'd before he went to prison. Harsh, yes, but I still don't feel like I'm the jerk. Edit for clarity. I did not change the name on my own. My husband was very involved in the decision, as were our 2 daughters who helped name their baby brother. The name reflects our cohesion as a family. We are all Smiths. And my girls came up with the idea of using Pippi's name because it shows he wasn't just adopted by my husband and I, but an entire family. Not the jerk. He's your baby legally, physically, emotionally, all ways aside from DNA. There is no babysitting. He's never going back to them. Never. You are mom, period. Block them and ignore them. If you can, move away from the area. They'll eventually give up, but it'll take an annoying amount of time. Not the jerk. His biological parents only care because it takes away the last bit of control they assumed they had. If you're doing everything for him and he's legally in your custody, you have the right to change his name. If they don't like it, they can get better and fight in the court. Holy cow, that was pretty wretched. I think your words were a bit over the top, no matter how true they probably are. But you just ignited the flame. Sometimes saying nothing speaks louder. Next time, and there will be one, show some grace and restraint. It ticks them off even more anyway. Not the jerk. And if none of these family members are in the child's life, they have zero input. And block them on your social media. All of them. Good luck. Gentle, everyone sucks here. They're speaking from a place of pain and shame. I'm glad the baby has you and your husband, but there's no need to speak like that of people suffering from addiction. They're already as low as you can get, so there's no need to punch down like that. You know the truth of the situation, so do they. They just can't admit it to themselves. Keep being a godsend to the little man. Block the ones who are bent on rewriting the narrative and enjoy your family. An entitled dad was the scariest part of my Halloween. This year, I went all out decorating my yard and house for Halloween for the first time. It's my first house and I was super excited about trick-or-treating. I decided to go big. I dressed up, handed out goodie bags, and played spooky music. I just wanted to have fun on my favorite night of the year and help all the kids have fun too. I made goodie bags that included some stickers, a small toy, 3 fun-size M&Ms, and a full-sized candy bar. I drew something cute on each goodie bag and had a lot of fun with the whole thing. About an hour into trick-or-treating, a family pulls up on a trailer with an American flag being pulled by a four-wheeler. Several kids came barreling out and ran up to my door. The first few kids were clearly too old to be trick-or-treating, but I gave them a bag anyway because they had a couple of the younger kids with them who were probably 7 to 9, and they all quickly ran off. Then, trailing so far behind that the other kids were already back at the four-wheeler, was the little one, probably 5 or maybe 6 years old, cute as can be. I asked if she was having fun and told her how much I loved her costume and gave her a bag. She started walking back down the driveway when, I'm assuming, the dad yelled loudly, "I hear this one has full-sized bars. Let me see," and snatched the bag right out of the little girl's hands. He started to walk away and yelled, "What? No way. We got scammed," and turned around angrily and started up the driveway toward the house. I instantly felt sick. Blood rushed to my ears. My heart was pounding, and I steadied myself for an angry confrontation. I was legitimately scared for a second. I decided right then I was going to stand my ground, even though this man was big and scary. Well, he apparently didn't see the full-size bar at the bottom of the bag because he yelled, "Oh, wait, there it is. Lucky for them," and turned around, hopped on the four-wheeler, and left. Now, I'm not a shrieking violet, but I almost cried. I wasn't even sure why. Maybe the adrenaline that filled me when I saw him angrily walking back towards my house. Maybe because he totally ruined that experience for his daughter. Or relief that he wasn't coming after me. Maybe all those things. I was shaking so much that I had to go inside and collect myself before going back out. I still can't get it out of my mind. It really did put a damper on the rest of the night, and I've decided that was the one and only time I'll be doing this. This world is so scary, and people are so entitled that doing something kind still gets you threats. I hope that girl is okay. Oh, I do want to add the one thing that made me feel a little better. Towards the end of the night, I hear a small voice exclaim from somewhere down the street, "Stickers!" That's when I remembered why I did it. ETA, thank you for all the kind words. I loved reading about your stories, and I did learn something after it all. Although I felt like a 17 to 18-year-old was too old to trick-or-treat, I see now that it is important for everyone, and I should change the way I look at it. As pointed out, at least they weren't out getting drunk somewhere. So thanks for setting me straight. Am I the jerk for using the single-car garage for my own car? My boyfriend recently complained to me about the fact that I use my single-car garage for my car year-round. We live in a city with harsh winters and somewhat frequent vehicle thefts, So use of the garage is certainly a privilege. Am I in the wrong for not wanting to share this garage use at all? Some facts. I bought the house we live in and pay for everything to do with the ownership aspect of it. We even have a legal agreement stating that it's my property alone. He pays for half of the monthly utility and grocery bills, and not a penny into anything else for our home. No mortgage payments, property taxes, household supplies, renovations, maintenance costs, etc. I make significantly more money than him, but I'm far from being wealthy. Our vehicles are very close in value. His vehicle was given to him outright by a family member, used. I saved up and bought my vehicle, used. I was really shocked when this came up in conversation because I figured that it's very fair that I use the garage given that I bought both it and the car inside of it, when he basically lives here almost for free and has a car of similar value that cost him nothing to acquire. I don't want to be one-sided on this, so alternate views are appreciated. My initial response to him was an outright no when the suggestion came up to share use of the garage. Edit. I want to say a sincere thank you for all of your comments, whether they're shooting me down or supporting my stance. I am a bit overwhelmed by the responses, and I don't think I'll be replying to each one of them if there isn't anything to clarify, but I want to express my genuine appreciation. Some of what you are taking the time to share is really helping me organize my thoughts as I prepare to have a conversation about this with my partner. Edit 2. I've read the word garage now so many times that I'm starting to read it as garbage, and that's kind of entertaining in and of itself. Not the jerk, but you pay for everything for the house and you split shared expenses? What exactly does your boyfriend bring to the table except demands? Does he do more than his share of the household chores? Does he do maintenance on your car like oil changes and keeping the tires full? Does he cook most nights? Those things matter, because if he is a really good boyfriend, maybe you would want to let him park in the garage sometimes. However, if he contributes half or less in terms of cooking, cleaning, laundry, etc., then he seems a bit entitled. Not the jerk. I'm not even understanding what he's proposing here, because I suspect the second you start letting him park in the garage, you will never be able to park in there again. I own the place my partner and I live in. They pay half of everything except renovations, with the understanding that when we graduate our PhD programs and inevitably move, what I make from the sale of this place will supply the down payment on a home we purchase together. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her boyfriend? Please let us know.
Sometimes we read these stories, and I think it's a shame that they're even wondering if they're a jerk or not.
Am I the jerk for punishing my daughter for making us all worried? My wife and I have a son who's 17 together. 16 years ago, I was drunk, and I got with another woman, which resulted in another baby, who's now 16, female. My wife forgave me, but she made it clear that she doesn't want to be anywhere near my daughter. I have my daughter every other weekend, and my wife would just go to her parents' home every time she's with me. A few days ago, we were going out with my extended family, and my daughter was also invited, but her mom wasn't invited. She asked me if I could give her a ride, and I said yes, but when my wife found out, she said that while she doesn't have a problem with my daughter being there, she doesn't want her to come visit with us. I tried to change her mind, but I couldn't, so I asked both my brothers if either of them would bring my daughter with them. They both said yes, so I called my daughter and told her I have a problem, and asked her to come with one of her uncles, and she said okay. Well, we went there, and both my brothers came, and my daughter wasn't with either of them. They both said that my daughter told them she's going with the other one. I called her and her mom and all of her friends, but no one knew where she was. Everyone just left to search for her, and after a few hours, my son found her. I was so mad at her, I yelled at her and told her how she made us all worried. I took away her car that I bought for her as a punishment. Her mom has been calling me, saying I'm a jerk and demanding I give her car back. Edit, just to clarify, she didn't drive there because it had a dangerous road and she's not a good driver, so I told her she's not allowed to drive there. Edit. Okay, everyone, I get it. I'm the jerk. I gave her the car back. It seems like everyone thought I was taking the car forever. I wasn't. It was just supposed to be for a month. I tried to talk to her, but she doesn't want to talk. However, she talked to my son, and he told me she was very upset and didn't come because she thought I didn't want her there, and the reason she didn't tell us where she was going was, as I guessed, to ruin my day and make me angry. I called her and apologized and told her that we are going out again and promised that she'll come with me this next time, and she seemed happy about it. I also had a conversation with my wife and told her that as much as I wanted her to come with us, if she can't be in the same car as my daughter, then she needs to find someone else to give her a ride. She left to her parents' home, and I'm not sure what she's gonna do. You're the jerk. I'm sorry, I get that your wife is upset with your cheating, but she's putting all her anger and hurt feelings onto your daughter. You have 2 kids, and if your wife can't see that, then you both should end this relationship. Your daughter deserves to have her dad in her life as much as your son does. If your son is allowed to come with you to an event, then so should your daughter. And if you want to support your wife and can't stick up for your kid, then she is better off without you. You're the jerk for making your daughter feel unwelcomed and unwanted, and then punishing her for acting out instead of sympathizing with her. She is not responsible for your infidelity. It's not fair that you let your wife punish her for your mistake. Everyone sucks here. You're the jerk for letting your wife mistreat your daughter like this. What did your daughter ever do to deserve being ostracized? It's weird that your wife can forgive you for your infidelity while taking her anger and frustration out on her when she had nothing to do with the poor choices you made. I can't blame your 16-year-old daughter for not wanting to come to an event where she's already been made to feel unwelcome, but I do think that the way she went about turning down the invitation was wrong. She should have confronted you outright instead of passive-aggressively telling each of her potential rides that she already had the transportation covered. All in all, I'm far more willing to forgive a 16-year-old's short-term thoughtlessness over the chronic mistreatment inflicted by a spineless grown man and his shrew of a wife. As for taking the car, let me tell you how this will play out long-term. She will eventually come to realize that she doesn't need a darn thing from you, and that you can keep your stupid gifts if you're just going to hold them hostage to her placid compliance. 10 years from now, you're going to be wondering why she never calls or visits. You will likely have forgotten all about this situation by then, but I guarantee that she will still remember. Am I the jerk for not wanting to split 50-50? I, female 26, have been seeing my boyfriend, male 28, for a few years now. He owns the apartment he lives in while I'm finishing uni this semester and will start making a decent salary from January. He has wanted me to move in for a while now, which I would be excited to do, but we have some differences in opinions that we have a hard time settling on. He wants to split costs, his monthly mortgage down payments, plus bills and groceries, etc., 50-50, as we will be making around the same amount. I don't agree with this, as it's his apartment, and by default, I will be paying down his mortgage, and will be left if nothing if we break up, while he will have his house and interest from its rise in value. I propose that I can pay 50-50 of all expenses as well as half of the interest rate, but not contribute to the mortgage payment of his loan. This way, I can put the rest of my money into savings, so when my savings are big enough, we can go in on an apartment together that will be in interest for the both of us. Or I can buy a share into his existing apartment. He thinks it's unreasonable that we wouldn't pay the same monthly expenses when we both make the same, and that I'm focusing too much on what is mine and what is his. He's made small digs, hinting that I'm trying to leech off his investments by getting a cheaper place to live, which I don't think is the case. I find that splitting everything 50-50 disproportionately advantages him and basically results in me paying down a loan that I have no interest in. Am I the jerk? Edit. First of all, thank you so much for the responses. It's really interesting to see how people see things so differently. Here are a few clarifications on some things that are brought up in the comments. I will not be having free rent. The interest rate is quite significant, as well as fees related to the apartment complex, plus insurance, etc. It's only the actual mortgage portion, aka the equity part, that's a matter of dispute. His expenses will be significantly lower if I move in with him, rather than him living by himself as he is currently. I am not currently homeless, and I'm living in a flat with 3 friends where I don't mind to continue living. For everyone saying I would be paying down a landlord's mortgage regardless, that is true, but our relationship is not a landlord-tenant relationship where the goal is for the landlord to profit off of its tenants. And this might be me that is being absolutely too stubborn, but yes, I would rather want to pay the mortgage of a landlord than have my boyfriend actively profiting off of me, because that would be a formal agreement with more stability, and it would be within its nature to be profitable for one party. It doesn't sit right with me that our living situation would be an agreement that my boyfriend would profit off of. Another clarification. Half of the expenses are still more than what I'm paying in my current living situation. Additional clarification. He's not willing to enter an agreement where my rent goes into equity so I can gradually buy my way into the house. There still seems to be a lot of confusion about the free rent part, and I don't think people realize how much of your monthly expenses are tied to interest and other costs, such as insurance and fees connected to the complex. What I'm proposing is about 40-60. It's only the principal payment of the loan which is of dispute, which is the direct payment of his loan that is increasing his equity. Small edit. Remove the part about what it would cost to live alone, as it seemed to be confusing people. Living with my current roommates in our flat for a lower rent is the alternative option. Sorry about any confusion. Not the jerk. You both have a point, but the appropriate rent for you to pay is the lower of these two. 1. Half of everything, like he says, or 2. Market rate if you rented a room as a roommate. He shouldn't be subsidizing your housing expense overall, but you shouldn't be paying more than you'd pay if he was merely a landlord. I'm curious if market rate, as if they were roommates, would allow her the same renter control she would have with a regular landlord. Would she get full control of a room? No. Then paying as if you're renting a room by yourself doesn't make sense. Is he going to demand more control of shared spaces because it's his? Would she have any renter protections? If she wants a ducky-themed bathroom, can she decorate it that way? Or is he going to override her because it's shared, but he owns it? I just don't understand paying market rate for less autonomy or control of a space. In my opinion, I think I would rather rent from a stranger with full renter protections than rent from a significant other who might throw his weight around because he owns the place, you know? OP, get your own place. It's not worth it. If your partner is going to throw around their weight because they own the place, you should break up. Your post assumes that the property-owning partner is a jerk. Sure, if your partner is a jerk, forget it. But that's not what that should look like. I'm in this situation, but reversed. I own my house, and my partner rents from me. I charge him the low end of market rate for a room in my house. There's one room to him that he has full control of. Told him he could repaint it if he likes, hang whatever he wants, etc. One room I have full control of, and everything else is mutual decision-making. When he moved in, I took down some of my decorations to make room for his, and packed some of my stuff into the garage to make room for his. When I had to replace the washer and dryer because it broke, I let him participate in deciding which to replace it with, and I paid for all of it, though he offered to pay half, which a landlord wouldn't do, but a partner would. If two people are living together romantically in a space, they should treat it as a shared space where each person has 50-50 input. That dynamic can be completely severed from who is paying for what. My partner actually offered to pay half my monthly mortgage payments, but I felt that wasn't fair because he wasn't going to get equity in the house, which is why I suggested the lower end market price for a room instead. If we get married, he will get equity in the end, and if we don't, he will have saved money. He will pay $600 a month less living with me than he did living alone because living alone is expensive. Not the jerk. There is middle ground to be had here, but you shouldn't be paying half when he gets 100% of the equity. Don't move in with him then. Keep paying rent to your landlord. Problem solved. Not the jerk. I've lived in my now husband's place and paid rent, and I feel exactly like you do based on how you said it. The difference is we had a formal agreement and an extra bedroom, so if we broke up, I was given 90 days and other legal protections. His dad is a lawyer, and we had it written in how if we got married, I would then have equity in the home equal to the rent I had paid. Rent and utilities were separate. And his dad added a bunch of legal protections for me that I hadn't thought about. Basically, if my then boyfriend decided to do something like cheat or whatever, he couldn't evict me without however many days' notice. I love my father-in-law. There is a way to do what your boyfriend wants and protect yourself. Get a legal tenancy agreement written up and separate it from your relationship if you can. My husband was on board from the beginning, so it didn't feel weird. He wanted me protected too, but I lived there, so I needed to contribute to living there, and we found a way to protect us both thanks to father-in-law. We sold that place and bought our dream home after we got married, and equity didn't matter because it worked out. But if you're paying rent, you need the protections of a renter. He can't have his cake and eat it too, and he should be amenable to a contract that protects you both if that's what this is about. Consider this a blessing. Insist on a rental agreement that protects both of you and see how it plays out. If he isn't on board, well, you learned something valuable. Well, who do you agree with? OP or her boyfriend? Please let us know.
I'm sure it's just me, but I feel like people really overcomplicate things these days.
Karen lied to my face about being sick, so I fired her. My husband and I hired a nanny back in August to care for our kids while we're working. The kids are on a weird schedule at school where they don't attend every day or all day, so we hired a full-time nanny, Marie. We liked Marie, despite some issues with her following guidelines we discussed when we had hired her. She let the kids have way too much screen time, She spent more time on her phone than with the kids. She would make messes and let the kids make messes, and she wouldn't clean up after them. She had friends over without letting us know. She let the kids pig out on junk food instead of feeding them real food. All of this had been discussed when we hired her, and we saw it all when we reviewed our security cam footage. So we set her down about 3 different times and gave her official warnings each time. She'd improve for a while each time, but then go back to the way she'd been before. 3 days, Marie called out, said she was really sick. So I told her to get better and I'd call out from work to be home with the kids. I'm in the middle of a big project at work, and people not coming hurt everyone. But I'm a mom first, and I don't expect Marie to take care of the kids if she feels sick, so I called out. The next day it was really hot out, and the local water park is running an off-season special with cheap tickets. So I took the kids, and after a while we ran into Marie with a group of her friends. I couldn't really say anything, except I hoped she was feeling better. Marie started to apologize and told me that her best friend had gotten tickets to the park and she wanted to go, and she didn't think I'd have given her the day off. I told her I would have if only she had told me the truth. I explained to her that she had lied to me and made me call out at a time that was really inconvenient, and if she had just told me the truth, then I'd have understood, and I would have been happy to give her the day off and call out myself. It's the fact that she lied to me is what upset me. I added the lie to her other warnings and decided she wasn't worth keeping employed. My husband and I pay well above market rate, and we provide everything. All she needed to do was take care of the kids and follow the few rules we set. I took her aside and really quietly, and as kindly as possible, explained this to her and told her that I'd pay for her the whole week, but she was fired. Marie started crying, and her friends figured out what was happening. They called me a jerk, a Karen, a monster. My kids got upset, so I took them and left. Marie has been blowing up my phone with apologies and begging for another chance. Some of my friends say I should have given her another chance and that firing her was an overreaction. Was I the jerk? Edit. Marie is not some teenager. She's a 26-year-old woman with a degree in early childhood education and some other certifications/licenses related to the field. She's had one previous long-term nannying job, classroom experience, and she has several younger siblings and relatives and an extensive babysitting career. All of this I verified, along with a good review from her former position. I had no reason to suspect she was less than she presented.
Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.